He probably had
Thanks, Gary
no
Bettman.
idea. It's probably because Easton's not the main sponsor of the NHL.
Anymore. There was a time, though.
Mm.
It wasn't the main, but there was a time Easton was big.
There was a bull on the loose in Newark today.
On the train tracks.
A what?
Wow.
It decided to leave like a
bull.
Brahma
A
bull. Yeah.
Yeah.
With horns. Just went running down the train tracks at some
In Newark.
He was trying to catch a train. He was trying to get on.
He apparently got out of a slaughter. Was like, fuck this shit.
But,
did he?
But how do you get on? But how does one get on the train track?
Listen, the guy figured out how to get out of the slaughterhouse. He could figure out how to get on the train tracks.
Did you hear about the kangaroo in Canada?
No.
What?
There was a kangaroo they were trying to take to a zoo, and he got loose, and they had to catch him, and he punched the cop in the face. Oh, it's just a wonderful Canadian story.
Start. We're live. We just haven't even started yet.
We're live. We're live, baby.
We're talking about kangaroos. You would think that'd be like Australia, but no, Canada.
Crikey.
Canada.
He probably has to wait 6 months to go to the hospital because of the free healthcare.
I think that's a rumor.
Who knows? Who knows? We are live, episode 370 Sndpodcast show. Ignore all of our voices. We're all
everybody's sick.
It's that time of the year. It's the how do we get out of our? We got it too early because we're too early to get out of holiday get-togethers with the family.
Well, yeah, I'm very lucky. I did it this week and not next week.
I got it last year. I got COVID like 2 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah,
I probably shouldn't go to anything.
I texted a couple of family members the Kramer gift of the JOing when they couldn't JO, and he comes sliding in and he's like, "I'm out." That was me for first time in 3 years getting COVID. So I
I know the one you're talking about. Master of your domain.
I just want to say. So Danny texted me like a good luck gift before the game on Monday, and I really wanted to send back the picture of Wesley Snipes crying with a gun. Like, I'm sorry I have to do this. I'm really happy I didn't. Obviously.
So we'll get into that. We'll definitely get into that later on.
You should have done it.
It would have been funny, I know, but I think
if I was full strength, I would have been fine.
We'll get into Monday night a little later on. It was an interesting weekend all around the NFL, especially early. I think the NFL was kind of broken early, but again, we'll get into that later. Right now, the hottest teams in New York play hockey.
That is
right now
mostly true.
I haven't really watched any of it. So
and
you guys
Jonathan Quick is like 2015 LA King Jonathan Quick again.
So what's up with Sir Sturkin then?
Quick's just playing better hockey.
He was hurt, and they brought him back, I think, earlier than he should have come back. If I'm
right, he had one of those little like tweaks that was like a day-to-day thing. So Quick got in, and it was like a West Coast trip. So they just let Quick run the gauntlet out there.
Then the Mets doctors saw him, and it was like, oh well, you're day-to-day, and then I'm not good.
But he's still like their best goalie. On paper.
Oh, of course.
I will say this: I'm not a fan of their new jerseys. It's just so very bleh.
Yeah, it's just
navy blue with some stripes.
Yeah, it's the garden light. Yeah, it's the garden light stripes, and the Ranger logo is huge. I guess that's like I think that was like the '70s jersey for a couple of years.
Listen, if I'm doing anything Rangers, it's Statue of Liberty extra, no matter what. Just like with the Islanders, Fishermen.
Right. Are they coming out with outdoor classic jerseys?
So I was thinking about that. And I was also thinking about how stupid they are that they haven't released them yet before the holidays. If they are.
Right. I mean, you
Ben's on
gotta.
mute, so if he's gonna try and say something, it's
Yeah,
kind of
look at
funny
him.
because he's just
Yeah.
mute. He's a
rambling.
mime right now on the podcast.
I forgot about the blowing my nose mute. You think the NHL is smart? You think they know how to make money? They don't.
Well, the
There's
Jonas Brothers are
They
performing.
announced the
at
Jonas. Well, that's because they're not selling tickets to that game.
That's an upgrade from fucking CeeLo Green. I'll tell you that.
Okay, they haven't announced ours yet, Vin. So careful, we may actually still
Oh.
end up with CeeLo Green.
I hope. Listen, that was honestly one of the funniest things that.
Like we all
were
just
you
cursed
there
at
for
him.
that?
We were. I was there for that. Yes,
That was one of the worst days.
One of the
ever.
coldest days on the planet.
Like people complain about cold football games, and I'm like, this is
and then
summertime.
He came out clearly not ready for the cold, not wanting it to be cold, and just got booed for 15 minutes. And then
I remember watching it on TV,
and then he just flipped everybody off.
Thank God I didn't. I'm like, thank God I didn't get tickets.
The funnier thing was the next, because that was the first intermission. The second intermission, it was some like Jersey Boys cover band or something came out and played, and they got cheered the whole time because they just weren't CeeLo Green.
Well, it's also hockey fans, so you just gotta put that down there.
Oh, I mean, I agree. That was the whole point of us. CeeLo Green was not the right person for that audience. But then again, the NHL does that a lot. Like,
all the time. It's like, you want to do it, and the person's desperate to do it because it's like, all right.
Like at the All-Star game or something, they'll play, and it'll be like, what the hell are these?
A couple years ago, it was like Machine Gun Kelly just randomly was on the ice.
Well, nothing beats when Snoop Dogg was DJing and completely forgot to censor his music.
Okay, so I'm going to go better than everything right now. So in the last week at the Islander games, the national anthem singer this year has forgotten a whole verse of the American national anthem at one of the games. She just burped and skipped the whole part of the national anthem one game. And then on Monday when they played Toronto, she forgot a whole verse of the Canadian national anthem.
Is it the same person as always? It always
is?
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
And it's like, you brought this girl in to do this and she doesn't know the words? Or she had the under on the anthems.
I don't know. She knows the words. She does it every day.
Every other day, the way they're at home. They're at home every other day. She's got to know the words, and it wasn't
they're on like a
opening night. She forgot it. It was like a week ago.
That's weird.
Maybe she has amnesia and just thinks she's just forgets that part every time.
But it's like so funny because everyone just kind of starts looking around. They're like,
what part did she forget?
I don't remember.
Yeah, there you go. So he doesn't even remember.
It was like,
now who has amnesia?
It was like right before Rocket's Red Glare, because I remember the red. I remember hearing red. So whatever comes before that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can count backwards. I can't sing the national anthem backwards. I
can't go backwards on the other. I remember hearing Rocket's Red Glare. So whatever comes right before that.
Bombs bursting in there comes after.
Jose, can you
yeah, I'm not singing the national anthem. There we go.
I'm in it.
But it was like the weirdest thing because like everybody on Twitter and nobody noticed it Monday too at the Canadian anthem. It was really funny. It was brought to my attention on Wednesday. It was like nobody knew.
No, I mean we always make a joke that when they play a Canadian team, it's an annoyance that we have to stand for two anthems.
Excuse me, I prefer the Canadian anthem over ours.
I mean it's a better song, but I don't want to hear. Just pick one. Just play theirs. We could skip ours for a night. I'm okay with it. I think that's why.
But how do you think they feel when they have to hear it more than we do? They host American teams a lot more than they host Canadian.
That's what I'm saying. It would be a reason for me to not go to Montreal or Toronto.
If like Ottawa plays Edmonton, do they do the French and the American version?
I don't think they do a French national anthem.
The Canadian anthem in French.
That's what I meant. I don't know.
They do it. They do it because every time I've watched a game in Ottawa, the Islander games in Ottawa, they've always done the goal scorer in both French, Canadian, and American. In Montreal also, I believe, too.
Montreal, I know, is big with the French.
Well, yeah. Well, that's, yeah.
I think Ottawa's closest to them. That's why.
Maybe. I don't know the geography of Canada.
You don't remember when you were going through the globe in 10th grade, Vin, and you looked at Canada and you're like, oh, this place is here.
I just found out that they are the second largest country in the world.
Canada?
Land mass wise, yes. Russia is the only bigger country in the world.
Really? Based on land?
Based
You're
on
telling
land.
me we're not bigger than Canada?
No, based on land. If you just look at Canada, it goes up. Now there's only, I'm gonna say only.
Well, yeah, that's how Elf got down from the North Pole. He cut through Canada to get to.
There's a bunch of it's just mountains and shit. So they have like
crazy.
I think so. We have 330 million people. They have 38 million people, but they have a bigger landmass.
Yeah, they got the
it's
land.
Just mountains.
Which is funny because it's easier to figure out how Elf got from the North Pole to New York than it is to figure out Dennis Quaid getting from California to New York by walking in snow.
Nobody will ever figure that out.
But Elf, he just cut through Canada. It's pretty simple.
That's it. And then through the Lincoln Tunnel.
Did you guys see the thing he said? He was doing an interview like last week, and he goes, and they asked him, he's like, "All right, pick any movie you've ever done. Which one do you want to make a sequel for?" And he's like, "None of them."
Well, he did a sequel for Anchorman, so.
Well, no, Anchorman. He meant the ones like Elf. He never did a sequel for.
Right.
Yeah. Why would you do a sequel to Elf?
There was a couple other ones, but Vin, remember the timeline video I sent you? Elf turns into like 7 other movies.
Right.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Because he becomes a toy creator.
Right.
Which makes Legos. I forgot what the other one was. I forgot what they went after that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, there was another interesting TikTok that I watched recently of Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, Kobe, saying it's degrading to think about division banners and conference championship banners and the LA Lakers together. Basically is what he said. And here's LeBron being like, "I can't wait to raise our banner next week for winning the in-season tournament."
Well, I think that's also for show of being in the NBA, and they have to be like proactive about it than him really.
Yeah, but first off,
be honest,
if Kobe was around, I don't think they would have had the tournament. I think he would have been like.
This is the first moment that I found out that the Lakers won the in-season tournament.
Come on, Vin. It was the biggest moment in Laker history.
Yeah, they were champagning like the baseball teams winning the wild card round.
Oh, God.
No, forget that. Clinching the spot in the wild card round. That was how they were champagning. LeBron ran in there and was super excited to do it. And all the young guys were like, "We just want our direct deposit to hit."
While you shit on LeBron gave all his winnings to the rookies of the team, which was pretty nice.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, that's good. But still,
Fuck him.
But
still, he talks about Kobe being his boy. I don't think you need a banner for it. I also think it was the stupidest thing, and I have no idea how it all came together.
I mean, I just disagree with Kobe on that scenario, but
the way I look at it,
because we have the 2016 wildcard banner hanging. It's
there's a gap there. There's you could find middle ground between not even scoring a run and then putting a banner up.
You didn't even show up to the game.
I think only watching the Knicks games, and I guess if there was a game late at night and I just didn't have anything on, the Knicks were in it enough for me to be like, "Oh, okay, whatever." But because they got into that second round and then they got killed by the Bucks, so it was fun.
Oh, shocking.
Well, yeah.
And surprise, like we were talking about a month ago, the Pacers went all in to try and win this thing.
Oh yeah, of course. But they got to see Halliburton look good, so.
What happened? Maybe Danny, you can explain this. What the hell happened with Giannis and the Pacers?
So apparently the Pacers took the ball after him scoring.
He broke the record for
most
points scored by a buck in a game.
Okay.
And I guess he wanted the ball. They were just like, "Fuck you, we're not giving it to you," kind of thing. Yeah. And then Giannis went off.
So he chased them down into their locker room and got the ball.
Pretty much.
That's about it.
It's basically like, Austin Matthews going to get the puck after Sorokin pushed it out of the net to get it for Tavares' 1,000th point.
I suppose that's what it was like. The whole thing was
So they did say on the game that Toronto.
a little much.
I said to my dad, like, there's less than 100 players in NHL's history to have 1,000 points. So it is kind of a big deal.
It's a very big deal.
So that's that. You kind of knew it was going to happen anyway that night. It was just made perfectly for it to happen. It sucks that it happened with 6 seconds on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, I think it was bad that they put up the congratulations.
I don't.
On it.
I'm over it.
I'm over him leaving at this point. Like, he's done absolutely nothing. He's won one playoff round since he left.
Mm.
He's done absolutely nothing in Toronto. His best season still has been as a New York Islander. He still never broke 90 points in a season. Generational talent, supposed to be. Can't even get to 90 points.
Yeah, but it's very weird because, like, he's basically been a point per game player his entire life, but he just
Well, that's also what happens when you go to Toronto and then you're not the main guy anymore as well. Bless you, Vin. Bless you.
Thank you.
I think I got all my sneezes out before the show. We'll see what happens.
I don't know when it's going to happen, but there needs to be a cleansing,
It was, and people
a
said
moment where he's
it's not about him leaving, it's about how he left, right? And it's true, you don't. But what else was he supposed to say all year? I can't wait to be a free agent. I'm going to test the market. I'm going to talk to every team in the league.
Yeah.
No, but see,
what else are you going to say in January or December when you're getting asked the question because your team's not playing well?
First of all, there's two things. What you say is you don't know, which is never what he said. He always said he wanted to be here. And the other thing is, when they ask you, do you want to be traded at the trade deadline, you don't say no.
Right, because you were thinking we had a shot at the playoffs still at that point.
They had a very outside shot at the playoffs.
Yeah, they weren't.
Well, I don't want to rehash the whole fucking thing. It's just
right. Again, it's a how he left, not a him leaving thing at this
point. But you also got to think of it this way. Let's put ourselves in his shoes. Yes, what he did for the Islanders, obviously. But let's say the Mets, we're playing baseball, and the Mets call, we're a free agent, and the Mets call, we want you to come play for the Mets, or the Packers for your case, and the Giants for me and Steve's case. You're taking that opportunity 10 out of 10 times. That's the thing.
Yes, but right. I get it.
But again, like Vince said, during the season, don't start saying, I'm here for life. Don't get my hopes up during the season.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that, but
that's what it comes down to.
Everybody should know that's also.
And also, it's Toronto. Like, there's history with Toronto. He goes to Edmonton, no one's going to give a shit.
That is the other thing, too.
Right.
Is that since the day he was drafted, there was a thing before he got drafted that he was going to, somehow force his way to the Leafs, Lindros his way to the Leafs. And that every time we went to Toronto, it was, he's going to come to the Leafs.
How much longer until he's here? How much
for the
longer
entire fucking almost decade he was on the Islanders. So that, to me, was what always annoyed me the most, was that it eventually happened.
Right.
But and again, that playoff history with Toronto, Toronto's considered a top 5 rivalry to the Islanders.
Right.
Without Tavares.
Yeah, that series was crazy.
So there needs to be.
Do you even remember that series?
I don't think he was a fan yet.
I wasn't. So there was a DVD box set they sold of the top 6 games in Islander history, and the Sean Bates penalty shot game is on there. So I have watched that game.
Game 4.
But no, I was not watching. The first real game, I watched a little bit when they got blown out by Tampa before that lockout.
Oh, that series was terrible.
And then
is that the one we went to the Met game the night they got? No, Buffalo the year before we went to. It was the year before we went.
Buffalo,
No, Buffalo was after.
Right. Buffalo was the year after the lockout. That's right.
2 years
Danny-
after. Well, the year after the lockout was when I actually really started watching. My dad took me to. This is a story. My dad took me to a game. We had sat in the luxury box. Trent Hunter scored in a shootout. They won. Why was Trent Hunter was shooting in the shootout? Still to this day, do not know. But that's
we
what happened.
never were able to coach a shootout.
Right. Then I started paying attention, and then Wade Dublowitz happened at the end of the next season, and that was really I
Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. Easter Sunday, that whole run. Jason Blake, we got tickets.
That was the Buffaloes. That was the Buffalo year.
That was the Buffalo.
Played game 1 and we won game 1, and then DiPietro was healthy and they brought him back, and then we got swept in 5 games.
We somehow got tickets like 10 rows off the ice, and Jason Blake scored his 40th goal. I remember that at the end of the season. And then we got basically killed by Ryan Miller and the Sabres. And
all this was a blur.
No, I remember that.
I said all this was a blur.
2007. Yeah. April of 2007.
Like, I remember Dublowitz, but I do not remember the playoff series at all.
Well, nobody wants to remember the playoff series.
Nobody wants, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
That was the year Danny came home from college every weekend because I had the season tickets and my dad
and I basically went every week. Yeah.
Then they started tanking after that, like they
and then
they started tanking for the generational.
Then I stopped caring.
Right. They bought out Yashin. They didn't re-sign Jason Blake. They didn't re-sign Ryan Smith, and they were like, okay, well, we're just gonna start.
Danny Kelly and I went to Ryan Smith's first game.
You wanna laugh? Danny Kelly is a Ranger fan now and actually likes hockey. It's really the funniest thing.
You know, I was thinking about. I was cutting through back that way the other day because there was like so much traffic around the train for whatever reason, and also getting to that light to go to Mill. There's just so much traffic, so I was like cutting through, and I saw the house that they grew up in. Have you heard from his brother? Have you heard? Have you seen?
No, apparently they don't talk anymore. That's what he says. He lives in Woodside with his wife and daughter, so it's pretty cool.
Well, that's what Danny does. Okay. I didn't know. Maybe saw Kevin on like.
No, apparently they don't. Apparently they don't talk for whatever reason.
Okay.
No, it's really funny. He actually likes hockey now, and I remember we would have to like pull teeth to have him like care.
Sit and watch hockey.
Yeah, he'll tell me about hockey before. I'm like, who the hell are you? He's like, yeah, man, I find it fun. And I'm like, okay, cool.
So that
or was this 20 years ago?
I mean, it is fun.
Danny,
that's what I'm saying. It was like, where were you 20 years ago? Then we got to get the sneeze counter up.
It's not a sneeze. I'm trying to blow my nose.
He's blowing his nose. He's blowing his nose.
No, I know.
So your interest in the Islanders significantly dropped after that thing is what happened?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
you guys always talk about going to games together and all that, and I was like, where did it drop?
It dropped there, but I would always go to free games or just be like, I would care, but the level of caring dropped significantly. And then it's just like, another thing is my friend Gerard, his mom passed away, and they got him to do the jerseys off their back. So ever since then, I'm like, all right, my hatred towards the Rangers like diminished a lot. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm like, I'll still root for the Islanders, but my passion for them is like, all right, it's so much bullshit you can take being a Nick and Islander fan. So I'm like, all right, I'll still like them, but my love for them has drastically stopped.
You've hit the point where it doesn't matter which team's doing well. If one of them's going on a run, that's who you're gonna root for. You're gonna want them to do well.
Yeah, because it's just like, all right, whatever, cool. Free hockey on TV.
Speaking of Islander Ranger hatred, I just want to bring this up quick. Devin and I were, I guess, showing Lauren because she wasn't watching at the time. Chris Simon hitting.
Oh yeah, that was crazy too.
One of the rewatching the video, one of the craziest things you'll ever see.
Who was the Ranger that got hit?
Ryan Holwig.
Yeah, that's right.
He checks Simon into the boards, and then he comes back around, and Simon just
baseball
wails.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Truly,
I remember that.
It was insane. I remember that. I don't even remember why I wasn't at that game. I remember watching at home.
It was a weeknight. It was definitely a Tuesday night or something.
But still, I was like out of high school already, so it's like, why wasn't?
Oh, right.
I don't remember, but it doesn't matter anyway. But like, still, like, it was definitely one of the crazier moments. And it's
I will
funny too.
say, my first Islander Ranger game was a great Islander Ranger game to be at.
Fight Night,
Mine
the original
was
Fight Night.
mine was the Eric Couchier, right? That was the goalie, Ranger goalie.
Dan Couchier kicking the shit out of Tommy Salo, and you could hear him all the way in the 300 screaming for his mom.
Yeah, that was my first ever Islander Ranger game, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Who? Fun fact, Danny, about a month ago, randomly was at the New York Islander game at UBS Arena. Tommy Salo.
Yeah, actually, I saw that on Twitter. That's pretty cool.
And everybody, and even Tom and I were like, where did you find him? What rock did you flip over? I did hear the funniest thing, though, and it's my dad. Darius Kasparaitis was at the game against the Ducks. And my dad goes, wow, he looks really good. I was like, yeah, he's a family man. He's got a couple kids. He's down Florida. Pretty sure he plays like beer league hockey down there, for fun. Because I do follow Kasparaitis on social media. And he goes, if I had to pick one Islander from that time frame to become the Lenny Dykstra of the NHL, it was Darius Kasparaitis.
Well, I'm glad he did.
Well,
good for him.
He came from the Soviet Union directly over here. So, let's go a little college football. Bowl's starting this week. The nobody knows what it's called weekend is here.
Bowl weekend.
Whatever. just get us to January 1st.
That's it. 5:00, January 1st. Don't even care about the parade.
Cancel
the parade.
What's your nervous level?
Not. I think it's too early. This is one of my least favorite things. Is like the fact that the break. Like I'm not even a fan of the 1 week off at the Super Bowl. Right. And this you're getting 4 weeks basically between your last game and your next game.
Yep.
I think it is exactly like 4 weeks.
Pretty much a month. Yeah, it's basically a month.
So it's like, but honestly, it's like, let everybody juice up Bama. That's what everybody does against Michigan. Juice up the other team. We weren't supposed to beat Ohio State. Guess what? We were also 36 yards away from losing to Ohio State. Not even having this conversation.
Yeah. Weren't they favored in the game?
Yeah, they were.
Ohio State was favored.
America's team.
No, right. Michigan was favored.
Michigan was favored. Yeah, but we almost.
That's what I'm saying.
But we weren't supposed to win it. Nobody wanted us.
But they were supposed to win. They were favored.
There was only one guy on the panel.
The betting worked.
There was only one guy on it. Take a wild guess who the only guy on the Big Noon Countdown was to pick Michigan to win the game.
I'm assuming it was Charles Woodson.
I'm still to this day mad he didn't punch Urban Meyer in the face when he did the fist bump after the pick.
Well,
he was right there. You could have fist bumped him. It would have looked a lot better than Draymond Green punching Chuck in the face.
God.
Draymond needs to be kicked out of the league. This guy's out of his mind.
He didn't do it on purpose. He was going for the ball. The ball was on the other side of the court.
It was just full fist into his head.
But still,
if the best is if you know me, you know I didn't mean it. Oh yeah, Draymond. Your
never
history is like squeaky clean.
But yeah, the nervous not there. I do think their quarterback has played a lot better, which is going to help out a lot. But also, I look back on their season, I think about it, right? They lost at home to Texas, but again, early on, newer quarterback. Again, kind of give him a pass on that one. But then you look further down, and it's like you would have had a second loss, and even if you won the championship, your conference championship against Georgia, probably wouldn't even be here if Auburn doesn't give up a 4th and 7 touchdown with less than 30 seconds left in the game.
That is very true.
Who was up in that game at halftime also, by the way, and led most of that game was Auburn. So if Auburn wins that game, Now we're not even talking about Alabama in the playoffs. Now you're looking at Florida State's undefeated. I do 100% agree with them. And I know Vin said it, you got to take him out because of the quarterback, but Ayers missed a bunch of weeks. Why did they get there?
Right. Well, we don't have to worry about that until ever again, because if the 13th team is going to be bitching that they didn't make the playoffs, it's like that's more on you.
Right. They won't be undefeated, so that's really old. That's really everybody's issue, is that they won all their games. But
and I saw that on a couple of Barstool football podcasts. It's like, yeah, it sucks that they didn't get in, but now forever they're like, oh, that year we got robbed, and it's just like, what could have happened type of thing. And it's a better feeling than getting rolled by Alabama or.
But
that
was
the other thing they talked about how
that's
bad
what I'm saying.
The Michigan TCU. Well, it really wasn't bad. It ended up being a high-scoring game and a close game.
Well, yeah,
again.
JJ.
But a couple years ago, you had. We also didn't have Corum in that game. He was hurt. He wasn't healthy. But again, a couple years ago, Michigan got steamrolled by Georgia in the first quarter, and that game was over. And that's what they were afraid of. And you know what? If they came out and said, "Listen,"
just like Notre Dame and Clemson, it's the same crap,
right?
Oklahoma, all the time Oklahoma was in it.
What about that game we watched, Ohio State, Notre Dame?
Well, yeah.
That's my thing. I was going to bring up Ohio State of the other side of the coin, that they did let that Ohio State team that was down to its third quarterback get into the playoffs.
Well, no, see, that's not true. He got hurt in the playoff game.
Yeah, he got hurt in the playoff game.
But they were on their backup quarterback at the time.
But again,
it wasn't the third string; it was the second string.
But that's what I'm saying.
And they were ungodly good that year.
And they were the number one ranked team basically the entire.
They were in the conference. In the conference championship game, they didn't score like 6 points against a team that they should have rolled as well.
And then on top of it, also added to that, like what Danny said, also that Ohio State team was basically number one throughout that entire season. You're not taking them. You're not taking the number one seed out because they're quarter. If Florida State was 1 or 2, then you have to put them in the playoff. But that's if they're 1 or 2 all season. They're not. They had to get. They didn't get up to, I think, the top 5 until mid-November.
Right.
Right.
No, they were in the top 5. Florida State the whole year, basically.
Okay, so but again, the top 4. They weren't in that like top 3, where it's like.
No,
you
they
knew
weren't
if
in the
Michigan
top 4
lost to
until
Iowa,
lost.
You knew that if Michigan ended up losing to Iowa, you were putting Michigan into the playoffs because of the way their season was. Okay? You also knew that there was a possibility that Georgia was going to go to the playoff, whether they beat Bama or didn't. We all argued that. If Texas and Washington lose, does Georgia and Bama both get in? The answer was yes. Okay. Georgia not getting in, I thought, was the right move. And I get it. Back-to-back championships, 29 straight wins up that game.
The thing with Bama was they were a package deal with Texas. So that was the thing with Texas, is they were a package deal. Also, Arch Manning survived the transfer portal. The other quarterback is leaving.
Yeah, but there's another transfer portal for young underclassmen in April.
Oh, well.
There's 2 transfer portals. So he has he didn't have to. This was the one that you're basically on the edge of draft, or some school's going to offer me a lot of money to not go in the 4th round.
Right.
So I'm going to transfer there type of thing. Arch can still transfer later on if he makes that decision, if he wants to.
Right. Because yours actually basically pretty much is coming back, I think. I saw it.
Yeah, but the other thing I was thinking about this is, has Erz played a full season? He was hurt a lot of this year too.
Right.
So doesn't that give him a chance next year to kind of sit behind him, and if he goes down, he could basically take over Texas.
Yeah, basically.
But he can also go to a place, and again, this isn't me saying come to Michigan. If JJ goes to the draft, he comes to Michigan, he's fighting to play in the opening day. he's fighting for that starting position in camp.
Well, yeah. Well, he's a Manning.
There's
so
going to be
he's
opportunities
staying in
out
the
there
South.
if he wants.
Right.
He's not going to. I know he's saying he's not going to go to Michigan. He's not putting himself in the same situation again if he leaves Texas. He's going somewhere.
Yeah,
where
but there
he's
is no situation in Michigan. That's the thing. There really isn't
But you
a
just
next
have
guy. There isn't a next guy behind JJ. So if JJ leaves, which some people are saying, like, I've been seeing projections of him going, someone picking him in the first round. Being that team that says, hey, we have a quarterback for like 2 years, but we're going to pick you in the first round and we're going to roll you behind them, like Cleveland, who's going to now release Deshaun Watson and sign Joe Flacco for the rest of his life.
Might as well.
You know? Or maybe he'll go sit behind Justin Fields while they're going on their playoff runs moving forward. There is a scenario.
I don't know what they're going to do.
They're in the most intriguing spot in the NFL right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I know it's a very big long shot. It's like 1.2% chance. Like, I think it's actually like just under what the Giant percentage chance is to go to the playoffs. But the Bears have a chance of
the Bears.
Chicago.
We have 2%, so it has to be a little bit lower.
Hold on, I actually have the scenario that's got to play out somewhere on my computer. Here it is. There's actually also a scenario where the Cardinals make the playoffs.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is. So the Panthers are going to give them the number 1 pick. Bears win out. Vikings lose 3 of the final 4, which they're changing quarterbacks. The Dobbs train is over.
Seems that way.
Hell of a run.
Seattle and the Rams each lose at least twice. So, you know, they're going to be big Giant fans in 3 weeks. And they're also big Giant fans this week because we play the Saints.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know it's
like
long
us,
time, but it's
like,
funny to see thinking back
right.
like a month ago where we were.
Yeah. Well,
and if you really think about it, it's what's making the whole league fun this year. Like, the Dolphins blew that game to the Titans. Now the Titans are right back in that division.
right.
Actually made me feel a lot better about losing Monday night. Because everything's a fucking disaster right now.
The whole league's a disaster.
Yeah. So, like,
could be worse. You could be Kadarius Toney. I'm not know where the ball is.
You could be Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Toney doing.
Or you could be the guy complaining that your player made a penalty and they called the penalty.
How dare he?
How dare they throw a flag before the amazing play that your player made?
Do you guys think Peyton brought this up Monday night, apparently. I saw it on like a reel or something. Do you guys think that should be a dead ball?
No.
No, it's a lateral.
No.
It's
him being
offside isn't a dead ball. That's the way the play is.
Right. It should have been, yeah.
I mean, Peyton's a quarterback. Of course, he's like in favor of the offense.
But what the fuck does it matter? You made the penalty. It's not.
I mean, it was so egregious that he was so offsides that they should have probably called the whistle.
He was basically a cornerback.
It's just the NFL referees shooting everybody in the field. That's another thing. That's just like there's almost a pass interference every freaking play, especially at the end of the game.
And they call it when they want to.
And it's just like, oh my god.
But also,
listen. Let's look at the bright side.
But it's on every team. I'm not saying one team or the other. It's
I'm gonna just.
You can't be mad every week. One of your team is gonna get screwed. It's either you're gonna get the call or the other team's gonna get screwed. It's a weekly.
Also, they just won a Super Bowl because of a stupid call at the end of the game. So you can't.
Right. Oh, they're notorious. Yeah, come on. They've gotten plenty of calls the last.
But that's the thing. They didn't get the call that there was a bad defensive, like you're saying, pass interference. There was a horrible pass interference against the Packers that they should have had the ball at the 5-yard line, 1st and goal, and they didn't call it. And they didn't complain. They were like, "Well, that's the game," and yada yada yada, and they said all the right things.
What about the end of? This is the week they played the Bills.
Right.
Who'd they play the week before?
That's what I'm saying. The
Kansas City.
Packers.
Oh yeah, against the Packers. Yeah, they should have had the ball in the 5-yard line.
They should have, but they also got
on the deep ball.
But they got a personal foul
Right.
on a late hit that Pat was not even out of bounds yet.
Right.
And they also got at the end of that game they said MVS got out of bounds when he was going backwards, which is not supposed to be a thing. So they benefited 2 out of the 3 bad calls, but they also went to the press conference and were like, we're not going to blame the refs.
I think Mahomes had his breaking point last week against just having his poor quality of team and
having to do everything himself right now.
Right.
He was like, eventually he was going to be like that. We've never seen him react that way.
Right.
But the fact that they also got it on the camera after the game of him and Josh Allen being like, I've never seen a call like that before in my life. Like, guy, go watch tape. Like, go take a Microsoft Surface on the sideline and go look at what they call.
But that just showed how uncontrollably upset he was. Well, Josh doesn't give a shit. I mean, he obviously gives a shit. But why are you telling Josh about the bad call? What did Josh do?
What did Josh do? Slip the guy a 20 to throw the flag?
Dap him up. Tell him to have a good rest of the season, and I'll see you in January, and that's it.
Right. Well, who knows? But you should be playing each other again in January.
It's possible. They both should be there, I think.
Who's going to be there in the AFC's a whole mess.
Well, now that they're dumpster fire, everybody, the Dolphins, nobody knows. I don't know. The Niners are the only team I'm confident they're good.
The Ravens.
The Ravens too. I do like the Ravens.
Right now, I do like the way the Ravens are playing. Crazy enough with no tight end.
The thing is, they could never hold on to leads when it matters.
The Harbaugh Bowl
didn't they
coming
also
up
lose
again.
The other day? They lost to the Rams.
Oh, they won on a punt return.
They won. On
that's right.
They were losing and they came back and went to overtime and won.
Okay, yeah, that was what.
So another Niner Ravens.
No, they changed the logo to change the colors, so we know it's not going to be a Niners Ravens Super Bowl originally scripted.
Okay.
Now it's Cowboys Chiefs.
Harbaugh's going to come back. He's going to lose in the playoffs and then come back and coach the Niners for their playoffs.
Well,
we're gonna have
funny enough, apparently a former assistant of Michigan that got fired from some other school was actually hired today by Alabama.
Yeah, I saw that.
To coach in the playoffs. I don't how is that allowed?
Yeah, college football
they do whatever
is
they
weird
want
like
with
that.
I would get it if it's January and your offense and your Jesse Minter, our defensive coordinator, got a call from somebody in the pros and was like, "We want you to be our head coach." Okay, I get that. That's a different thing. To throw a defensive coach on the sideline like that, it's kind of, I don't know. I just find that kind of weird.
We could use a defensive coordinator. He want a job?
Nope, he's staying in Michigan.
No, it's going to be Al Harris.
Al Harris, or who's the Lions? Aaron Glenn? Is that who's
Aaron Glenn?
Coaching?
Aaron Glenn, Jet Great.
Yeah.
Is that who's coaching the Dolphins over there? The Lions?
Oh, Al Harris, yeah. No, Aaron Glenn is coaching the...
Excuse me, Vin, if you're going to hire anybody, it's the Dallas Cowboy quarterback coach.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Al Harris is the Dallas Cowboys secondary coach. Yes, Mike just took all the Packers
when you get a new head coach, it's going to... When you need a new head coach, it's going to be the Dallas Cowboy quarterback coach.
I'm telling you, Danny, the Dallas Cowboy quarterback coach is Scott Tolzien.
What a world.
So Mike is just giving people jobs.
As much as we like the bullshit on the Cowboys, they are...
I'm going to tell you right now.
They're going to find a way to choke in the playoffs, but right now, Dak
is the MVP.
Dak deserves everything. He has not looked like this ever. Between
Scott
Cooks,
Tolzien. You're right. They fired the child and they fired
Lamb
Scott
being
Tolzien.
open almost every play. Ferguson is obviously legit, and they're very formidable. And is this the year they don't choke? We'll see.
Also, the quarterback coach in Detroit is Mark Brunell, by the way.
The problem with it is
he was on the broke 30 for 30, so I guess someone has.
I have the most faith of any team in the league. Is the Niners.
Right.
So if they just
on paper right now, the Niners,
but even the way they're playing,
I want to parlay with the Niners because McCaffrey's first run was 70 yards.
But if the Cowboys run into the Niners, it'll be played as if they choked, even though they just lost to
Right. If they lose to the Niners or Eagles, it's just like, yeah.
It also depends on how they lose.
Right. They could still choke if they lose to one of those teams.
Right.
If
Well,
here's
if you
also
end
the
the
thing.
game, if you end the game like they did last year with Zeke,
If Tony
then you
Pollard is the
deserve-
center
yeah.
at the
well,
end of
Zeke's
the
not
game,
there,
then-
so
yeah, but Tony Pollard could play center, so it's okay. It's not like he gets in the end zone. The guy doesn't like going in the end zone. He might as well block somebody.
don't I know it?
Well, it's like Swift. It's like every time an Eagle like gets tackled at the 1, you're like, God damn it.
Well, that was like me versus you Monday. I was like, I'm already out of the playoffs, but
Oh yeah, Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito
What?
getting
I'm like,
knocked
all
out.
right, I'm safe. I'm gonna win by 3 points, and then Tommy DeVito runs for 74 yards. I'm like, oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
I said it to Rosa too. I'm like, I know I'm not making the playoffs, and Gino's out. Tommy DeVito's the only guy left. I have to pick him up, right?
Right, no, it's the right move. I didn't realize you did it until like Monday night, and I was like, oh crap.
Once the alert came out, it was him or the guy from Cincinnati, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go with Tommy DeVito
Yeah, I'm not making the playoffs anyway. Yeah, thank God that didn't cost me because my team actually played well.
I was like, I looked at it Monday morning. I'm like, all right, I'm down 23 points. I have Miami's defense, who's still giving me 12 points despite giving up 30 points.
Right.
And Tommy DeVito. I was like, all right, I don't care what the Dolphins defense do. I need at least 25 points out of Tommy DeVito. And it was like 19.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I also expected him to be sacked 6 times. So what do I know?
Right. Well,
listen, everyone's at practice today. This is going to be fun to see what happens with this out. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm leaving the offensive line the way it is the rest of the season, barring injuries.
Yeah, of course. Finally, continuity on the line. They're still far away from being a top line, obviously, but yeah, keep it going. They had like 12 combinations of the line because of injuries and just players sucking. So,
and again, like I said earlier, it's crazy how much just having Andrew Thomas out there makes a difference.
Oh yeah, that's
all of last year was basically the same line we went into the season with. Andrew Thomas went down because the line wasn't bad last year. It wasn't really a problem. It wasn't the most ideal offensive line, of course.
Right.
But again, it wasn't, the biggest concern, and you could tell that by the way they weren't going after free agents. They weren't going after guys in the draft. I mean, a couple guys I think they drafted in the line.
Like last year's Daniel Jones and to the degree of DeVito the last month, you put your full faith into Dable and Kafka because you're like, all right, well, they're getting things done with what they have. So I have full
this week
trust
doesn't count. He was coaching against a child.
Yeah, well.
Didn't LaFleur win a coach of the year? Or no? He didn't win one, right?
He never actually did. No. He didn't do that bad. The defensive coordinator is the worst human being.
So I get the text. You said you had funny text with Danny. I text Vin after like the second period the hockey game. And I go, based on all the tweets, it seems like this is a lot of really dumb either coaching decisions or on the field decisions going on in the first half of this game. And Vin's response was the greatest. He goes, we've made so many stupid decisions in our lives that one of the best decisions we ever made was not going to the football game.
Yes. It was the best decision the three of us anybody has made to not go to that game.
Yeah.
It's funny, I got ripped at work for not being at that game. I'm like, if I gave the tickets away a month ago, would you have gone a month ago?
I also completely forgot I had a test Monday night. So like I was planning on skipping class if we were gonna go, and then it turns out I couldn't have. So it all worked out great.
Yeah, and I got COVID, so it didn't matter.
And you got COVID, so you couldn't go anyway. It's just
so it worked out perfectly. And honestly,
go ahead.
I'm too old for this shit. I make that joke that if it's not a meaningful or a home opener primetime game, I'm probably not going to go to it.
I'm already thinking like I'm looking at the opponents next year. I'm thinking about who our Thursday game is going to be. So we're getting a Thursday home game next year. And I'm hoping it's like Washington.
Yeah. Well,
give me like Washington on a Thursday.
Right.
Where I can say, all right, I'm not going to waste an off day on this.
Thursday's different though because the off day you're taking is Friday, right? So it's different.
Monday and
Tuesday is fucking useless.
Well, Monday nights are the worst because you have to take Monday and Tuesday off.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have taken Monday and Tuesday.
Well, the same thing on Thursday. Well, yeah, Vin you work in the city. You could just meet there. Well,
Right.
Danny, you could do the same thing if you really wanted to.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, ideally Monday you're taking off, because even on Monday, like Danny said, I was off on Monday and Tuesday. I just was like, screw it, I have the days, I'm just gonna take them. Like, it was 1:30 in the afternoon, and I noticed the time. I'm like,
Like,
any
I
other
swear,
season, I'd probably be getting out of bed right now and getting ready for this game. So, again, like Danny said, it was a month ago when you give tickets, but now it's like, a win this week against the Saints, we're happy we didn't give up any of the tickets the rest of the season yet. Because now we're like intrigued. Now we're intrigued.
I did.
Now we're intrigued. Now it's like intriguing, and even the Eagle game may mean something for both teams at this point.
Yeah, the Eagle game. Yeah.
Possibly.
Who would have thought?
You know, like,
honestly, I'm honestly okay. Like, when I saw Justin's tweet about waiting to get in line to the parking lot, and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of jealous. And then Wes sent me a photo that him and Kristen met Justin talking. I'm like, oh yeah, that sucks. But it's just like, all right. I'm happy to be home. I get to, like, well, I was joking. My normal circumstance, if I didn't have COVID, all I had to do was walk up like 10 steps and be at my bed and not have to worry about it. But I was in my bed already, so it was perfect.
Yeah, I was home in time for the fourth quarter, so I caught the only good part of the entire game.
Yeah.
Saquon almost costing himself his Giant career, and then Tommy DeVito.
That play was wild.
Well, I was honestly like, why I wasn't more annoyed that they lost, because that should have ended the game.
Saquon just finds ways to lose.
Saquon's like, crap, I had money on the Packers keeping it closer.
Yeah, but if he didn't fumble there, the game's over. That's it. You sit the ball, you sit there and probably take 3, and we get the ball with, like, a minute left maybe, and no
right,
timeout.
and you used all your timeouts at that point.
Yeah.
And
I was like, come on, let's for once get a 2-score game. We can,
even if you went out of bounds, go out of bounds there. Or
Saquon will never go out of bounds. Are you crazy?
You realize the ball falls out, swing at it, punch it out of bounds.
That was just so fucking weird.
And guess what? And you know what? And I said it too. Like, I heard my parents in the other room. They're like, "That's not a fumble. It's our ball. Blah blah. He's clearly touched." I was like, "He clearly was not touched.
No,
that's a
100%.
fumble.
That is a
he went down on his own
because he was touched." But he went down
earlier,
like 3
but
steps
then he
later.
caught his balance. The problem was that he caught his balance. If it was
That's
all one motion,
and the annoying thing about it as well is it's also his 3rd lost fumble in his career, and they're like, oh, come on. It could have happened at a worse time.
Right.
Speaking of a worse time, the Detroit Red Wing goalie just went to try and stop the puck from going to the boards. It slid under his stick, hit the board, bounced into the crease, and Jordan Stahl just poked at it. Eric Stahl poked at it into the net. Whatever Stahl is on Carolina these days.
I think it's Jordan.
He just poked at it and went it.
The fucking Hurricanes and the Wings.
Because there's nothing else. Because I'm not watching the Raiders and Chargers.
It's 14-0 Raiders, by the way.
Shocking.
21-0. Sorry.
Oh, there are other games on. There are other.
The Leafs are getting blown out, but they're on.
Wild Flames is on. Wow.
So
Flames just forgot to play, huh?
Yeah, the Chargers are. The first quarter is not
he
even
still
over
has
yet.
a job. How does he not have? He should be fired at halftime.
Yeah. Aiden O'Connell is smoking him right now.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Easton Stick should have stuck to hockey?
He 100% should have stuck to hockey.
Has he done anything? Knicks don't play tonight, right? No, the Nets are on tonight. Wow, 21-0. Still just starting the second quarter.
Yeah, could have saw that coming. Me and
Shocking.
Vin are 1-0
Devontae
this
doesn't
week.
have a touchdown.
They don't throw to him.
But he wanted to go to a place with more stability.
The Oakland Raiders, that's the definition of the Oakland Raiders the last 22 years is stability.
That's what he said.
Second best owner behind Jerry.
I want to go somewhere where I know who's going to be throwing me the ball. That's what he said.
He did. He went somewhere, and then they let him go to New Orleans. So now he has to go to New Orleans if he wants him back.
Sorry,
But
bud.
wait till next week, and then it has to be released, and then go to New Orleans.
Tough
That's
shit. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Alrighty, what about the rest of this wonderful weekend?
Well, me and Vin did the Raiders. I don't know if you did, Steve.
I took the Raiders.
I took the Raiders.
Great.
So far,
Once
so
I
good.
saw Keenan Allen was out, I felt pretty confident about -2.5 for the Raiders.
100%.
Let's see, what do we got here?
Jake Browning.
I'm
looking
riding
fucking good, man.
Yeah.
I'm riding the train.
Yeah, I'm taking Browning.
I'm riding the Browning train.
I'm taking the Colts at home.
Colts are playing Gunnar Minshew. It's about
The way the Patriots lost the way they lost, the Steelers lost to the Patriots last Thursday night was just unexcusable.
Did you hear Roethlisberger? He's like, I don't think there's
whatever
the Steeler way anymore.
Yeah, whatever.
You're still Mike Tomlin's still going to finish around 500 or over 500, and he's still going to have a job next year, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Colts on this one. This should be the Super Bowl preview.
Yeah, I think the Broncos cover, but the Lions win because the Broncos can't stop a running game.
I'm going to say Lions at home are going to cover this. Like
They haven't looked great. They
second.
have not looked great as of late, though.
Oh, these are the Saturday games. I forgot we have Saturday.
Right, we have 3 Saturday games. Yep.
Shit, maybe we should take Minnesota because you know what happened last year around this time on a Saturday for them.
Right, that was insane.
Not expecting a 30-point comeback again for them.
So it must be a traditional thing because the Colts and Vikings played each other last year. I guess they get the Saturday games. They must be like, oh, let us play it.
These are like the Nickelodeon games in the wild card weekend that nobody wants to watch anyway.
Joe Flacco resurgence. I'm going Flacco.
Bears' magical run comes to an end.
I agree.
45 cents, boys. With fees, it's like $1.12 to get in the building in Carolina.
I hate the Falcons so much, but the Panthers are that much worse. So Falcons. The Bucks are very so I'm going Packers.
I don't know. I'm feeling pretty right now about the Packers and their injuries. Their offense, when their offense is fully healthy, or at least has Christian Watson, it's different.
Right.
Without him, there's a limit to their explosiveness.
Right.
But hopefully they can beat the Bucks and Baker.
Yeah.
There was a time on Sunday I was at a buddy's and we were watching, so the ticker came across. They had 29 points, and he was like 13 for 19 for 68 yards. And I was like, Howard, what is going on?
Right.
I don't know.
I'm going Texans.
I don't know if CJ's playing, though.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
He hasn't been cleared by protocol yet, but I feel like he's going to have some strange
just
mental streak on Saturday to clear him to play.
Magic.
I had to pick up Joe Flacco in fantasy just in case he doesn't play. That's where we're at right now, boys.
I did that in Jay's league because I'm playing Danny for the second weekend.
I have
G.
I made the playoffs. I didn't even download the app or anything. Wow, cool.
I'm gonna go with the Texans because I just trust the Texans defense more. That's why I'm going with that one. Oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah, Dolphins are gonna wake up.
Tyreek or no Tyreek?
Hope.
I'm going Giants. They're actually gonna win.
I hate the Saints so much.
Yeah.
And not like
Why?
just
I don't-
because, not like for any specific reason. They're just like a horrible ran franchise.
Do you hate Taysom Hill like I do?
Not to that.
I'm starting to
degree.
hate Derek Carr more because he like gets hurt, misses like 20 plays, and then comes back and then throws like 3 touchdowns and makes it a game, and then they still lose.
Right. Other than Kamara, Olave has been hurt, but yeah. Kansas City, even though they've played like shit, the Patriots are that bad.
100%. Rams.
Rams.
I don't know.
Washington. Rams are home. Washington's basically tanking at this point.
The old gunslinger's still got a few left in that arm.
If this doesn't end over 14, I'd be surprised.
I'm taking the points from the Cowboys. They're just too hot right now, even though it's a must-win for the Bills.
It is.
Played well. No.
Who the Eagles got this week?
Seahawks Monday night.
I'm gonna go the Bills at home. I feel like that momentum from last week is gonna kind of knock the Cowboys on their ass this week.
Nah, I'm taking Dallas.
Type of thing. Hey, this is actually a decent Sunday night game.
Like I said last night, it's they're gonna have Josh Allen's gonna have a Josh Allen game, but the Dallas defense is gonna make sure it's more of a nightmarish game for Josh Allen.
Ravens to cover. Lawrence is clearly hurt.
Yep. And then I think the Eagles wake up.
Eagles are going to bounce back in. Talk about a guy who needs to go away. Pete Carroll.
He never
over under is 47.5.
I said 45.
I'm going to go 53.
I think I said 45, so under.
Eagles wake up. That means the Eagles wake up.
If you're looking to win some money this week,
all of our picks are valid.
Don't make our picks, but also pick the Patriots because Travis Kelce was not at Taylor Swift's 34th birthday party.
Oh no!
Some trouble in paradise there. I'm just saying.
Apparently, he has something bigger planned. So, read the full article, Vincent.
He had practice.
Allegedly, he's proposing on her birthday, which is a wild move.
That was quick.
Allegedly. But doing it on her birthday.
Her birthday's today.
Oh, then it's not happening today. But allegedly, that is the worst day to propose to someone.
I mean, you've been dating a month, so yeah. It's probably the worst day.
Well, yeah, that. But
it's like 2 months now, I think, at this point.
Well, 3, technically.
Right, it's been most of the season at this point.
But if they were going out a longer time than 3 months.
Okay, yeah. If it was the second year of her on the screen every
day. The birthday is literally the worst day to propose to someone.
Listen, got to write that album somehow, Danny.
Oh my God! Imagine that you proposed to me on my birthday. Oh my God!
I'm of the opinion you don't propose.
That whole album is going to be about him
on other days. You don't propose on holidays.
She's going to make an album about an ex. Huh?
You don't propose on anniversaries. I mean, on Valentine's Day is what I meant to say.
Right.
Propose on a fucking random day.
Yeah, her birthday is just just like, why would you do that?
Because he's a romantic, you know?
Happy birthday. Oh, by the way, this is not going to last. 87 Red is the album, and it's all about Travis Kelce.
It's just going to be a red cover. She's not even going to be on it. It's just going to be a red cover on the...
And girls are going to think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And they're like, oh my God, she's the best.
She's pretty good.
She's good, but like, I don't get it.
Going to be anti.
Oh, yeah.
We're all going to go into our anti-Kelce era.
Yeah. Ooh,
this is my thing. Like, to say you don't get it. I understand what you're saying, but you have at this current moment a New York Giant tattooed on your leg.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like we do the same things.
No, I'm not making fun of
just
it.
for other things.
Oh, 100%. I'm just saying. I wasn't saying it like that, but yeah, you're right. I'm just saying, like, it is really funny. Like, it's just like draw blood of like if she like someone will kill Travis Kelce if she breaks up with him.
Oh, they
Like-
might. They'll put a hex on the Chiefs. Maybe they already did.
They definitely did something.
They might have. It's possible.
I mean, they did that when they traded for Kadarius Toney, but whatever. He's already cost them 2 games this year.
And he can't catch.
Huh? No shit.
Oh,
wait, we didn't get a chance to actually see him try and catch the
we could
ball
have had
'cause he
Micah
was always
Parsons,
hurt.
but no, let's trade back and have Kadarius Toney instead.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, fast guy. Go the Oakland route. Whoever ran the
Gadget
fastest
guy.
on the 40, that's who we want in the first round.
Gadget guy. And everybody's like, why? And then you hear him talk, and you're like, oh god, this is not gonna work. You just look at him, and you're like, oh no.
See, what I hate about this though, you guys are all Monday morning quarterback in this situation. After that Dallas game, you were all in fucking love.
Well, we were like, all right, maybe we could actually use him, and then
We weren't in love because he threw a punch, and wasn't that the game he threw a punch and got thrown out of?
But he had 130 yards receiving in the game. They were getting blown
but if he doesn't throw a punch, maybe he's still in the game and we win, and then we'll actually still
we
like him.
had winning that game. But the thing with Kadarius Toney is
he got anointed after that game in the eyes of the Giant fans that I saw.
After his 800th try, and him not being able to become the number one receiver when we have guys like Darius Slayton and all those other guys, and you can become the number one wide receiver because of health and stupidity. That's where it was like, all right, come on. Like, he could, if he had any ounce of care in the world when he was a Giant, he would have been the Giants' number one wide receiver, and it would have been okay, and he would have been fine. But he didn't care, and that was what happened.
It's fine. Also, he's gonna get cut, and he's gonna go to the Eagles and be the best receiver we've ever seen.
But it's not about caring. I don't think it's about caring. He's just not good.
Well, now, yeah, but like retrospect of the whole situation, it's just like last year is like, all right, Kadarius Toney would be very awesome in this offense right now, and then you get Richie James outperforming him because he actually knows the playbook and cares. Like that's my point.
That's true. Mondale Robinson was outperforming him before he got hurt.
Right, and we saw what he did on Monday. So
I like that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, we all liked him, Vin. We were at the game where we saw him fall on the sideline, and then we never saw him again until training camp.
Well, he died. What are you going to do?
He literally caught the ball on the sideline, and we never saw him again.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it.
Well, with that being said, we will see you guys next week.